So Marleen, prices, farmland prices this year, you mentioned in your presentation, really peaked in February, January this year, 2013, and then started to sort of taper off. Tell us about what's happening out there.
Well, what we observed in a large market, actually, in most counties, is that we saw a tremendous lack of farms offered for sale in the fall and early winter. And with that, at the same time, we saw a tremendous hunger. So we had buyers, what I call chomping at the bit. We want land, we need land. So when land values rumors, a lot of them were rumors initially, so, oh, land is going to go through the roof, it's going to get really expensive. It started triggering some of the sellers and saying, you know what, maybe this is the time to get out. So we saw in January or even December already, we saw some for sale signs popping up in the countryside. The most aggressive farmers in any given area jumped on those and said, okay, it's mine. I'll pay you whatever I need to. That piece of land is going to be mine. And in a lot of cases, they did actually end up paying the asking price. Now, once that first wave was satisfied, and some of those numbers started actually coming out into the public, we saw more for sale signs pop up, because now they were no longer rumors. We knew that Farm A sold for $18,000 an acre. Well, that one sold for $20,000 an acre, and it triggered more current owners saying, you know what, I'll take my money and I'm going to run. And so we see more for sale signs, but surprisingly enough, we didn't see the same hunger, because a lot of the farmers, and this is just from talking to all these potential buyers, said, you know what, at those levels, I don't want it, because I need to bring a bucket of money to that farm for the next 20 years, because it's not cash flowing. The minute you lose positive or even cash flow neutral cash flow, I think you lose people. And so some of these for sale signs were now in May are still on there.
Talk about prices. I mean, you mentioned in your presentation in Elgin, 6,000 to 18,000 on a range per acre. Norfolk 8 to 14, Haldeman 6 to 10, Oxford 15 to 20, Perth 9 to 15. Are we seeing a lot of trade within that range? Where are prices?
We are the reason the range is as big as it is because every farm is individual. We don't have two properties that are the same. I'm going to say that universally across all those areas, the highest value parcel of land is a vacant 50-acre next door to 2 or 3 livestock-based operations. That's your top. Now, not every farm that gets offered for sale or that gets sold is a vacant 50-acre next door to, etc. That's where the range is coming from.
You mentioned in your presentation, widows holding on to land and some of the factors that, make that supply of farmland so dear. Right.
Yes. The interest rate story is what I call the double-edged sword. We've all heard people talk about, well, interest rates are low and that's why we have this demand for farmland, because farmers have access to what, quote unquote, cheap money. True. On the other side of it, and this is the one that most people don't talk about, is because, again, of these low interest rates, you've got people holding on to farms that are no longer actively farming. They're retired, they're elderly, but they reside usually in the older house, and they rent out the land. Why are these people not selling their farms at these incredibly high figures? And the answer I get from talking to some of these owners is that, why would I? Where am I going to go with my money? I have no alternative. I can put it in stocks and lose my shirt like I did 10 years ago. No, thank you. I can put it in a GIC and collect maybe 1%. No, thank you. I can put it in a bank account and collect nothing, or I can just leave it invested in the farm and collect my land rent every year, twice a year.
Last point, you mentioned that a lot of the farmers you're talking to are saying, you can't make money at these prices, but
yes,
they seem they need to buy.
Yes. Every buyer that I have done work for in the past year and a half has pretty much told me the same, that when I asked them, if I look at this particular farm purchase, just this one, not taking into consideration your existing operation, do you expect to make a positive rate of return on this farm based on what you just paid for it? And the answer has overwhelmingly been no. However, there's always a part B to that story. You know, there is the but, and then the answers vary. You know, but I expect land values to go up even more. But, well, you know what, we can't really invest in anything else right now. We don't really have an alternative, and we still think it's a good return at the end in, you know, in a 20-year horizon. But, well, I've got, you know, one son at home on the poultry farm, and I've got the second son coming home, and well, the poultry quota makes no sense because it's gone through the roof as far as price is concerned, and the second son kind of likes the tractor work, so we decided we're going to grow a cash crop operation for son or daughter number 2. And so, you know, it becomes and there's been a fair amount of that. It becomes estate planning, you know, where, you know, the existing operation is now in a way subsidizing the startup of the second operation so that, you know, the other children also have an opportunity to farm in one way, shape, or form.
Finally, you mentioned that you think this market is still going to be pretty hot, but you see it leveling out, dropping off maybe 5%. Where do you think the rest of the year might be? Yeah,
I think we've seen the peak in early winter. Some of our March, April sales already showed some backing off. I think the minute the market realizes that maybe we have seen the peak, we're going to see more for sale signs, which may very well trigger a further small adjustment. I can't see land prices going down significantly. But on the other hand, you know, we also have the commodity prices, and it was talked about in the meeting this morning as well, that long range forecast for corn is $4.50, not $8 a bushel. So all of those factors, I think, are going to slow down the demand for that high price, and maybe even, you know, we may see some small corrections. Nothing that's going to scare the lenders away, nothing that's going to do anything bad to the market. I think at the end it's probably a good thing just to kind of calm the market down. It's been overheated, I would call it. Let's calm it down. Let's see where it takes us. Let's just cash crop for another year and see what we can do.
Good stuff. Good advice. Thank you so much.
Okay. You're welcome. Thank you.